Hey guys, how's everybody? I hope you're okay. Got some great news. A soul got saved today. An Indian young man called Kashyap. If you can pray for his spiritual growth, that would be wonderful because our Christian life is not just about doctrine, although doctrine is wonderful, but it's also about the practical stuff and about salvation of souls. Thank God. Trust everybody's doing okay. Christmas is coming up. If I don't catch you tomorrow, I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas. Yes, I'm aware of all the potential heathen connections. If you're interested about that, I actually got a video on that. Should Christians celebrate Christmas? You can go check it out there. Anyway, I want to talk about the book of Revelation, because that's one of the books we're going through at church right now. And it's a great book, and it looks at the end times, and it's always exciting to talk Revelation. And particularly the 1/3 of the angels. That thing about Revelation chapter 12, where you read that he drew 1/3 of the stars of heaven and he cast them down to earth. And the popular opinion about that, largely thanks to John Milton's poem Paradise Lost, which is a Catholic work, is that this is Revelation chapter 12 is talking about the day and time when Lucifer rebelled against God originally in the original creation, and then when God drove him out of heaven, 1/3 of the angels of heaven chose to follow Lucifer, and thus they became the angels of Satan, the fallen angels. Here in Quebec, we've got a group of bikers called the Hells Angels. And that's kind of the main thinking about it. But that's not the case at all. Those 1/3 of the angels are not the devil's angels. Now, in our kind of circles, Bible-believing circles, we say, listen, Revelation chapter 12 is not in the past. It's basically future. And I think we have a point about that. It does look to the future. And we say those 1/3 of the angels are in the future. That's definitely for sure. 1/3 of those angels falling. Revelation chapter 12 is discussing the future. It's Revelation. It's not the past. If you look at that context there, it's more than likely discussing the birth of Jesus Christ. And 1/3 of the angels were not cast down at the birth of Jesus Christ. Those 1/3 of the angels are not followers of the devil. They're the exact opposite. That 1/3 of the angels in Revelation chapter 12 are enemies of the devil. I'm a little surprised. I got to tell you about that one. I'd say, je me gratte la tête, like they say in French. I scratch my head about that one. How we end up seeing all those 1/3 as followers of the devil. And I think that's one of the things, it's still Catholic influence. If you just take the scriptures on their own, the cross-reference to that passage, this is Revelation chapter 12, verse 4. The cross-reference to the passage that discusses the fall of the angels is Daniel chapter 8, verses 13 and 14, I believe. And over there, Gabriel is talking about the same setup as the book of Revelation. You guys know very well Revelation is basically Daniel chapter part 2. And there he's discussing the Antichrist, the little horn. And Gabriel tells Daniel this. He says, and it waxed, the little horn, it waxed exceeding great, even to the host of heaven. And it drew some of the host and of the stars and it cast them down to earth, and he says, and he stamped them. So again, Gabriel says that the Antichrist waxes great to the host of heaven, and it casts down some of the host and of the stars, and it's stamped upon them. Well, with the Gabriel's prophecy, John picks it up in Revelation chapter 12, and he sees the dragon with his tail casting down 1/3 of the stars. Well, according to Gabriel, that 1/3 of the stars is stamped of Satan. Satan stamps on them. Now, Satan's not going to turn on himself, because Jesus Christ said, if the kingdom of Satan is divided, then it cannot stand. Of course, he has divisions in his kingdom, but he's not actively going to turn on himself. So according to Daniel, according to Gabriel, those 1/3 of the angels, once they're cast down, the devil tramples them. The Antichrist tramples them. They are the enemies of Satan. And they are, in effect, the casualties of the war in heaven, Revelation chapter 12, verse 7. This is 1/3 of the angels of Michael that the dragon casts down. If you take all the verses together to read Revelation 12 carefully, you would see that Revelation chapter 12, verses 7 and on takes place after Revelation 12:3. So Revelation 12:4 is actually anticipatory of what happens at the end of the war. So what you have, by comparing Daniel chapter 8 with Revelation chapter 12, is that when the devil falls, he uses the tail to cast down 1/3 of the angels. What is the tail of the dragon? Well, the Bible tells us, the prophet Isaiah, the Lord says that the false prophet, he is the tail. The teacher of lies, the prophet that is a teacher of lies, he is the tail. And in the tribulation, you've got not only the Antichrist and the dragon, not only the dragon and the beast, you also have the false prophet. The false prophet is the tail of the dragon. So what you get is that the false prophet, after the dragon falls down, the false prophet finds a way for the Antichrist to, in revenge for the casting out of Satan and his angels. So, watch this again. The dragon falls down to earth. He loses the battle against Michael. Him and his angels are cast down to earth. And once they reach down to earth, Revelation chapter 8, he appears as the horn exceeding great in the second half. He's not a little horn like in the first half. And then he draws 1/3 of Michael's angels. 1/3 of Michael's angels. He casts them to the earth and he stamps upon them. And Daniel chapter 8, Moses and Elijah are having a conversation. And then one asks the other, how long is this going to last from this, from the initiation of the sacrifice until the abomination of desolation, for the host, for the sanctuary and the host to be trodden underfoot? And he tells them for 2,300 days. So again, in 2 verses in Daniel, he tells you that host that falls from heaven gets trodden underfoot by the Antichrist. That 1/3 of the angels are not the devil's followers, they are the devil's enemies. They're Michael's 1/3 of the angels that the devil brings down, and in effect they are for 42 months his POWs, they are his prisoners of war, and he's doing something to them, he's treading them for 42 months during the second half of the Great Tribulation. So with the 1/3 of the angels, they're not followers of Satan, they're enemies of Satan, they're 1/3 of Michael's angels that Satan casts down to the earth and stamps. That's all I got to say. I don't know if there's any comments because I'm driving, trying to use this driving time for these things. If you've got any comments or questions about that, if I missed something, I mean it. I really try to correct aim as far as I can. Many times I miss some verses. If you see something that doesn't jive with this, or if you've got further questions, let me know. But go back, try to read Revelation chapter 12 and Daniel 8 side by side, and see if that doesn't jive. God bless you guys. Have a great night in the Lord.